we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday. It's July 14th. Welcome aboard. Appreciate you. Jim Coyle here. Todd Leary as well. Jimmy's at the wheel. On the program today, it's Chronic Tuesday, of course, so he'll be with us. Also, Remy Abel. Get Remy on here as Sideline Cancer prepares for the TBT Championship tonight. Winner take all, $1 million on the line. Man, can you imagine playing in a winner take all? The thing that kind of sucks is the guys that whoever ends up in second place, it's been a hell of a run. And to get that far and to get that close and you get nothing.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it because I know what it's felt like millions of times playing in AAU games, and you get to the championship game and, you lose and you get the runner-up trophy or medal or whatever it is. And, I just can't tell you how many of those things you chucked in the trash because, if you don't win, you don't really care. And
first loser. First loser.
This is a whole different level here. They're not getting a trophy. They're getting a big fat check.
$1 million fat check. And it would have been $2 million had this been a normal year. But $1 million, man. I saw a post from Remy yesterday. He said that if they win the money, he's giving some to the Children's Hospital.
Yeah, those guys are playing for a lot. The awesome part is I think Cancer Research gets $500,000 if they win. So there'll be a lot of people in their quarter rooting for him tonight.
Heck yeah, man! I hope all the Hoosier Nation's behind him. 7:00 on ESPN. TBT Championship tonight. Remy Abel, Mo Creek, and crew going at it. Can't wait to talk to Remy about that, man. It's pretty cool. We had Mo on here yesterday after hitting the game-winning shot to send them into the finals. Well, that was cool. What's new with you, Mr. Sickly? We got Todd back here.
Nothing. I've self-quarantined myself after I think that you were nice enough with privacy not to announce I had COVID, but I definitely did. And I'm on the very tail end of it now. So
if I got a shot, if I can get a shot from you and just give it to me, does that mean I don't have to worry about it be like a vaccine?
Yeah. I think that's exactly how that works.
Yeah. Man, I am still well, you made it through okay, unscathed, I guess.
Yeah, you and I talked about it a long time ago, and I kind of said, well, I'd rather get it and get it over with. If everyone's going to get it, I'd rather get it and get it over with. Well, I guess I got what I asked for, and it wasn't a lot of fun for a few days, but as long as I just stayed home, and you haven't seen me anywhere for 2 weeks almost. So
yeah, it's and so now as we move forward and. Indiana's been great. We've seen their testing results. I think I've seen 4 out of like 300. I think Jimmy mentioned that there was 3 out of 300 something on the NBA. That's great. Their country's not doing a very good job. I think people can do a fine job when they're like the bubble thing and all that, when they're forced to. It's when you let morons make their own decisions out here. That's when things go awry.
When you still see – when you still see people not wearing a mask, and my quote marks are up because it's their right to not do it. That's just stupid, to be honest with you. I've already had it and I still wear a mask just because, it's the right thing to do. So it just doesn't make any sense. People are just nitpicking stupid stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Taiwan Mullen was added to the Blitnikoff list. One of only 11 sophomores on this list. It's a defensive award. I'm telling you, this dude, we already know he's just incredible. He is special. It's not that he's going to be special. He is special.
He's a game changer from that position, and there are not too many of those guys every year you call game changers.
Nope. Those guys end up in the NFL.
Oh, Yeah, they ended up getting their name called on the first day pretty early on.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, everybody thinks the NFL draft. They think of the quarterback.
You think quarterbacks and running backs and all that.
Watch the draft, man. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, the first pick is a defensive lineman, a defensive end, or something, and offensive linemen get plenty of picks through the first round, or defensive specialist. A guy like Deion Sanders, which I'm not saying he's Deion Sanders, but a great cover corner in the NFL. That's why these guys make the money they do. That's why they chirp like they chirp and talk all the smack they talk. I mean, it's those guys and the wide receivers. They're out there on an island, and it's a lonely, lonely place. But if you're good, man, oh man, and
but it's it's also the way the game has changed so much. I mean, with how much more passing there is now versus what there used to be, and those guys, I mean. How many times have you heard cornerbacks and safeties described as a dime a dozen? Like there's a million of them, and it's just not that way anymore. I mean, now they are, like you said, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and cornerbacks get drafted, much more heavily in quantity, early on in the draft than almost any other position.
Absolutely. So we'll look forward to that. How's your golf game been? As a matter of fact, I guess it's non-existent under the COVID conditions.
Have not touched a club in 2 weeks.
Man, that's probably the longest you've gone in how long?
Well, since winter. since we could touch them.
Yeah, it's just Tuesday. We got tomorrow night, too. We got NASCAR racing, which I know not everybody's a huge fan, but it's the that all-star race at Bristol. And I mentioned it because that Bristol is just like one of those tracks where they just beat and bang on each other. And I think this is for big money, this all-star race too. So we got that going on in the middle of the week. So some nice middle of the week non-Korean baseball action.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, like, they've done a good job of filling stuff in. I mean, I've watched more NASCAR this year than I've ever watched, obviously. But, it's not one of the sports I don't think I'll ever be diehard about, but I enjoy watching it, especially when they run at a track like Bristol.
Yeah, that's fun just even for the casual fan to watch. But it's just like anything. If you don't know the nuances of it, it doesn't even matter what sport it is. It makes a difference because there's entertainment in certain things, and not everybody likes the same thing. I think that's why we all know that. But that's why getting sports back is so important because, man, you get one segment back and you get a whole other segment of society saying, "Hey, where's my pickleball?"
Right. Well, and it also, I mean, it really helps having a local person to root for. So I watch more of the Xfinity races with Chase Briscoe than, the actual main event that takes place on Sunday afternoon, just because, I mean, I've got something to root for. I mean, he's from a half hour down the road.
And what a season for that kid. He's won
no
5 times. He was just one off the record of number of races won in starts, and I think it was 6 and 13. He just missed that, but what a season this kid's having. I mean, he's probably going to be on the Cup Series next year. I'd be shocked if he's not. But congratulations, to Chase Briscoe from Mitchell, Indiana. Justin Haley from Winamax having a good year too. He won at Talladega. So good. These Indiana kids, the driving, man, they're doing good this year. I'm telling you. They're going to be some names that people are going to be hearing about.
And they're getting a lot of recognition because of the, quarantine and virus and all that. I mean, I would say NASCAR is probably getting more views now than it ever has.
Absolutely. NBA, another sport that is trying to get started up. Guys playing, guys not playing. Is Victor Oladipo going to play? Is he not playing because of injury, or is he not playing because he wants to go to Orlando or Miami? It's just all kinds of typical drama. Yeah,
I mean, people are going to come up with a million different, scenarios as to why or why not he would or would not be playing. And I saw Gordon Hayward yesterday announcing now that he's not going to play because his wife is pregnant. I mean, there's just I don't know. I don't know why they just don't pack it in. As much as I'll even watch it, I mean, so what if LeBron right now says he's not going to play? I mean, then all of a sudden there's an asterisk next to the champion. I mean,
you know why I say that doesn't happen? For one reason, because I think this may be the absolute best chance for him to win a championship in a Lakers uniform. I think because of this COVID situation and certain guys not playing, I think he's going to take advantage of it and try to win that title in a Lakers uniform.
And I don't disagree with you at all. But in your mind, okay, so you and I are both, we'll just call ourselves passive NBA fans. I mean, we watch players more than just individual teams. But will you not have an asterisk in your mind next to this year's winner, no matter who it is?
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's something you're going to.
It's a nobody
remember.
cares. Yeah. I almost wish they would just say they're not going to play for. I would rather than just throwing all the guys who want to play into a big group and draw teams out of a hat and play some little round robin tournament thing and not call it an NBA Finals, because this is not a real NBA Finals.
I think the more important thing that people that are trying to get going, college football, college sports, but college football.
Yeah.
If there is not college football in the fall, I don't know that I even begin to know the reach of the catastrophic events that will follow from that. I mean, the effects that will fall out from that, the jobs, the people that do what they do that are based around that. I mean, this is a billion-dollar industry and
multi-billion-dollar industry.
And there are so many people whose careers revolve around it. I mean, referees, people stay. I mean, just you go on down the line. It's just there's so much.
So right now is and I said we're not avid NBA fans, but we are both, as most of the country, as avid college football fans. If you had to choose right now, would you take playing in the fall, almost a regular game schedule with, I know there'll be more conference games, but would you take that playing in the fall versus playing spring football and having fans?
I'd rather have it now.
Would you?
To be honest with you, because there's going to be so much. Hopefully, there's going to be so much. The spring stuff will be there. That's another thing I'm afraid of. I'm afraid everything's going to crash together, and then it's going to actually affect the other spring stuff that was going on to begin with. It's just there's going to be so much craziness. It's just going to be so nice to when we can fast forward to 2022.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to get crazy. I mean, look at what that's going to look like down the road. I mean, there's just so many full-time life changes are going to come out of this virus. It's just nutty.
Yeah, I mean the changes in life, changes in how we attend things,
how we do things,
in how we go to restaurants, changes in how we attend sporting events, changes in how those things are put together. I'm wondering how much change is going to affect on how we do what we do, how we cover things. Are we ever going to step foot onto the campus again at IU? I mean, it's just a weird deal.
It sounds so silly. Like when you say that, I want to be like, oh, come on now. We will. And then you're like, well, now wait a minute. It may be a minute before that happens.
We've got to, as soon as we get done with the show today, got to immediately jump onto a Zoom call with Coach Tom Allen. First time we've heard from him in a minute, but that's going to be the new norm. Unfortunately, the media days, football media days, basketball media days, which are great events where you can go and talk to all the coaches and talk to some different players, some other teams. Done. All that over. It's over.
Right.
Forget it.
Yep.
Now we got to do all this by Zoom, and it's just not the same. You can't get the same. It's way different. So yeah, let's hope. I'm just hoping for a vaccine, man. Try to get back to some normalcy. But even with that, I don't think we're ever going to get back to normal. There's no normal's gone.
Yeah, some of the long-term changes I won't mind. I mean, like you talk about going out to dinner and that kind of stuff, like the social distancing. I'm not that against that full time.
I sure like having my own golf cart. I can tell you.
Yeah,
that.
that's a huge advantage.
I don't want it now. And like when somebody starts to come up, I'm like, oh no, I just kind of pull away.
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm in here by myself.
I've got the COVID patch I can put on now. Like, nope, can't be near me.
It could be like in NASCAR when every time they win, they put a checkered flag sticker above the driver's door. You can see if they've won 2-3 times during the season. Yeah, if you got a COVID, you could get like a COVID sticker.
I just want to walk around all the time with a "I've had it" sticker
instead of the big R they used to get. What was it on the girls? Scarlet letter.
I think it was an A.
Scarlet A. No, scarlet letter. Yeah. We can give you a scarlet letter. Jimmy, did you say we need to break? All right, well, let's do it. We've got Remy Abel coming on the program today as he prepares the rest of the sideline cancer team, TBT, for the championship tonight, man. They are playing for all the marbles. I hope everybody's watching. That's tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN. We'll be tuning into that. Looking forward to it. Also on the program today, Chronic Hoosier is going to be with us. We'll look forward to talking to him as always. Stay tuned. We got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with all that and more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sillersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
I believe every lie that I ever told, paid for every heart that I ever stole.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this July 14th. We're about halfway through July, which I can't believe that. I say that every day. It's rolling on. I'll be glad when I'm saying that, and we're coming out of 2021, man. I'm
That's for sure.
going to get through this crap. Remy Abel's going to be joining us here in just a little bit. They had a team meeting pop up, of course, preparing for a championship, baby. You got to do what you got to do.
You talk about practice.
Practice. And while we were off air, you mentioned one of the players on this sideline cancer team. Of course, we got Mo Creek and Remy Abel. We talk about a lot. You know, Remy's I think Remy's the leading scorer on this team. He's averaging like 16 points a game. And then, of course, Mo has been there, the emotional leader almost, I guess. But there's some other players in this team doing well. And one of them you mentioned, Marcus Keene, lighting it up.
This dude's ridiculous. Like he is the leading scorer on the team. Remy's behind him, but Marcus Keene is so good. He's one of the fastest players with the basketball, and I'm including everyone. Anyone in the NBA, I'm including everyone. He's one of the fastest players with the ball I've ever seen.
And everybody knows who Marcus Keene is, right? We all know. No, I'm
that's
kidding.
right.
We don't. That's the funny thing. That's the hilarious thing. That shows you how much stinking talent there is out there, and it shows you why in the NBA half the guys are like, where did he go to school? This is one of those guys, man, that they don't develop. Not everybody is a 5-star 18-year-old. Sometimes it takes until they're 21. I mean, whether it's growing or learning or whatever it is, a lot of these guys develop in college, and that could be at Central Baptist University, wherever it takes place. But it just shows you, man, the true athlete can come from anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, he's 5'9". He is a 0-star rated player. He had one scholarship offer, which was to Youngstown State. He went there for a year and then transferred to Central Michigan, where he led the nation in scoring. And now he is the leading scorer in the Taiwan Pro League, averaging over 25 points a game. And I'm telling you, like, we've seen enough 5'9" guys in the NBA make a huge, I mean, the little Isaiah Thomas guy, not I use Isaiah Thomas, the other one, but I mean, those guys are 5'9" or less and make a huge impact. This guy's that good. He's that good of a player.
All right, I'm not going to make any height jokes because you said Taiwan and 5'9", but
yeah,
he
plays with a guy that's 7'4".
Oh my God!
One of the other guys on his team over there is 7'4". So I mean,
that was who was the picture? Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bol.
Yeah.
They took that picture
very
together.
Very similar.
That's nuts.
But I mean, this dude, this guy can play, and you know, one of the things, he's one of the only players at the TBT that doesn't have to be a part of the bubble, because even if he gets the virus, he's not passing it on to anybody else either, because he doesn't ever pass the ball. So they just let him roam free because he ain't passing anything along.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Thank you.
Well, we're looking for the championship tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Looking forward to that. It's a winner-take-all deal, man. $1 million on the line. Remy Abel, hopefully going to join us here a little bit. Had to go into an emergency team meeting when we just spoke to him.
Trying to figure out how to stop that Marquette team. I mean, this Marquette team has a chip on their shoulder. They lost in the finals last year. This is going to be you know what? Every game they've played so far, they've been the underdog. They were the 22 out of 24 seeds. Sideline cancer, that is. So they've been the huge underdog in every game so far, but this is going to be a tough one tonight because this team is they play really well together.
Who's on there that the people will know about?
No one. I mean, I didn't even really know anyone that was on.
Most of these guys are Marquette alumni, which is kind of odd because I mentioned this yesterday with Mo, but you've got a big Tom Crean connection because you got the Marquette, and then you've got Remy Abel and Mo Creek on this other side. But
and this Marquette team, I mean, they lost in the finals last year to the Ohio State alum team, and they have taken this seriously. They had a 7-day mini camp before all of this thing started. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy, don't they have a kid from Valparaiso on their team too? The kid that plays with Jordan Holes overseas, Luke Fisher. He plays on this team as well. He played with Jordan Holes this last season.
He got committed to IU at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he had, and ended up at Valpo, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, but he's on that. He's on the Marquette team, and he, as part of that mini camp that they had, he went and tried out and made it, and he's been a big part of their success in this tournament.
The NBA will be picking up down in Orlando, and for Pacer fans, the big question has been former Indiana star Victor Oladipo's participation or not, expected not to be there. Then now there's been a reversal of thoughts, and he is expected to make a return to the court this year after previously stating he would not participate in this restart. A lot of talk about him wanting to possibly go to Miami, just not playing probably wouldn't have helped that. So I don't know if this has anything to do with that, the other thing, or whatever, but it is what it is, and that's where we are. And it looks like we're going to have NBA basketball back as they prepare. We got baseball, those guys getting ready. We've seen some simulated games between teams, but it doesn't seem like on the pro side these guys are all in, man. They've got one foot in and 1 foot out, and I don't know how in the hell are you going to have anything worth watching when these guys are just like they're halfway in and halfway out? They're not committed to this.
When you've got 12 to 15 guys on a roster, and let's say 80% of them are 100% bought in. You still got too many guys on every team that are just question marks and that you don't know about. And if part of the 20% of guys who are not bought in are the superstars, if it's the LeBron James or the Russell Westbrooks or the James Hardens or somebody like that, I mean, that changes everything. Right now, we're hearing some stuff about some guys who don't, I'll even say Gordon Hayward. I mean, when Gordon Hayward chooses not to play, yes, that's a big deal on Boston's team, but I mean, they functioned for a long time without him last year. I mean, can they still win without him? Maybe. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those scenarios where I really feel like you're right. Professional sports, this TBT has been awesome because these guys aren't making a dollar without winning, and they're playing for something. The NBA guys are getting paid one way or the other. I mean, I don't know that they really care.
And it's been funny to seeing some of the TBT guys calling out the NBA guys. Like,
Remy called it out 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was Remy. Like, dude, you guys are moaning and complaining about not having 5-star accommodations. I'm like, come on, man. Life is what it is, dude. This is where we are right now. And I think some of those guys are so used to being, I'm putting my air quotes up, special, that they're not used to being a normal person anymore. And it's just,
it's funny. You hear, any sport. I'm not just going to say NBA athletes, but you hear any sport. You hear them talk about, they don't want to forget where they were from or where they came from. And most of the time, they're talking about
the first thing they do.
They're talking about their community that they came from.
Let alone the hell up out of here.
They used to eat ramen noodles in college, 4 days a week because they couldn't afford anything else. They forget where they came from when it comes to that, because this bubble these guys are living in is still probably better. The NBA bubble is probably nicer than the accommodations for 99.9% of the population.
I got to see over the weekend Logan Duncombe and Trey Kaufman play. I talked a little bit about that yesterday, and I was watching more of that last night. I was posting some of the highlights, and I'm really impressed with Trey Kaufman. And afterwards and talking to him, his maturity level is unbelievable. It kind of really irks me. I look back at myself at that age. I was a complete moron. These guys are almost half adults, man. They speak so eloquently. He's so well spoken. You can tell he's just a good kid, nice, polite. It's almost sickening to. No, I'm just kidding. But they're great kids. They are truly good kids. But they're really talented. He is super talented. You can tell he's worked hard on his game. I was watching those highlights. I saw more because we've heard more of Trey Kaufman and how he wants to shoot from the outside. Hey, I saw him posting up a lot as I was going through these highlights, working on his post-up moves. These guys are using this time to work on what they need to work on. At least Trey Kaufman seems to be. He was really working on different aspects of his game. He was outside some too, but really working on that, while Logan Duncombe was the opposite. I saw him outside a lot, but not offensively, defensively, trying to work on his perimeter defense. So it's wild to actually see these kids. They're actually purposely trying to do things right now, which that in itself is a maturity level that it takes to do.
And that's, we talked about this a couple months ago, back in April and May, when they started missing out on the AAU circuit. And that's what this AAU circuit is for. It's for these guys to, one, have the opportunity in game situations to improve their game and work on the things that they need to improve on, but to do it against, higher quality talent than they're going to do just in an open gym in their local home high school. And that's really where we talked about the game missing out on, and these kids being able to get a lot better. And thankfully they're able to play in some of these tournaments now. It's not the same competition, the EYBL and the Under Armour and Adidas and Gauntlet, they're not having their big national tournaments. So they're not getting to play against the top competition. They're playing against good competition. But still, it's exactly what you said. It's nice that they're out there and have the opportunity to, work on the things that they need to do to get better. And it would have been a total loss for the summer if they weren't able to play in any of these tournaments.
Yeah, and they did a good job managing these tournaments. I talked about this yesterday as well. You've been to them, but you arrive and you're outside, man. They're doing what they need to do, and some people, no one really got upset. I mean, it's a little frustrating, but
right.
You realize you stop, and you're like, dude, it is what it is. It's where
right.
we are. So they did a good job of trying to do what they needed to do for the precautions for COVID-19, but it managed to go off without a hitch. There was no problems. You got in. You got to watch the games that you wanted to watch. The kids played. They got to play the games they wanted to play. They managed it, and if the rest of the country could manage their lives like this, we would get through this a lot faster. But it's good to be able to see people do this.
The difficulty with it from a youth perspective, and this is why it's so difficult to think about, should kids go back to school, in 2 or 3 weeks, or should they stay virtual or whatever? Because, all those kids that played in that tournament this weekend, none of them got tested. None of them are getting tested for this. They're not quarantined. They're not in a bubble. They're coming. They're hanging out with their friends. I mean, I know, my son Will had 5 of his buddies have tested positive in the last 2 weeks for the virus. Now, Willie's been tested a couple times and he's negative, but all of these kids are showing up and playing in these games against each other, and they've not been tested. I mean, there's no requirements for testing on their individual teams. It would virtually be impossible to test every one of these kids. I mean, some of the tournaments you see, basketball is one thing, but you go watch these lacrosse and soccer and, baseball tournaments, and you're talking about tens of thousands of kids on a Saturday and Sunday playing out on the fields. I mean, it'd be impossible to test them and get the results back in time.
The National Junior College Athletic Association announced on Monday that it will not conduct any close contact sports like football and basketball in the fall semester. Instead, the NJCAA's plan is to start basketball season in January and football in March. And though this isn't necessarily a sign of what's to come at the Division I level for sure, it sure feels like it could be a preamble.
Didn't I see the Patriot League did the same thing?
Just saw that last night myself. Fall sports, but they can't seem to cancel theirs, from what I read.
They did?
Yeah. We got to take a quick break. We'll talk about that more. We also got Chronic Hoosier coming up. Hopefully we can get to Remy if he can get out of his meeting. Now we'll get him tomorrow after they win the championship.
That's
right.
right.
I don't have them back on anyway. But let's take a quick break. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We'll be back with Chronic Hoosier right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
You know what it means. It's Tuesday, and it would not be a Chronic Tuesday without Chronic Hoosier as he joins us now, man. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing well. Back in B-Town after some much-needed R&R and getting back into the grind of things, man. Happy to be back.
Yeah, happy to have you. It's, things are – I don't know if we're getting back to normal or not, trying to get back to it. We had Mo Creek on yesterday. Remy was supposed to be on with us yesterday. They had a team meeting, couldn't make it. But tonight, got the big TBT championship, man. I don't know if you've been able to keep up with that or not, but big deal for those guys going for the winner-take-all $1 million prize. Weren't Remy Abel and Mo Creek, former Hoosiers, on there?
Yeah, all sorts of IU connections, facing off against the Marquette squad. A lot of Tom Green's former players there. Obviously playing against two former Hoosiers that Coach Green brought here to Bloomington. You know, you look back over the last 2 decades, you'd be hard pressed to find a couple of better guys. I mean, just not just basketball players, because make no mistake, Remy and Mo are absolutely just really skilled, really solid basketball players. Had some unfortunate issues in their careers, more so with Mo, I guess, than Remy. But nevertheless, man, they found a path forward. They continue to play the game professionally, and now they got a chance to take home a share of $1 million. It's pretty cool. Couldn't happen to two nicer guys. I know one of the coolest things you see is, even though they both decided to go explore other opportunities before they had ended their IU careers, it's still really awesome to see the way in which not only Hoosier Nation still continues to embrace them, but the way in which they reciprocate the love, which again just speaks volumes to the type of guys they both are.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Hoosier Nation will be tuning in at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN to wish them the love that try to bring that home. Now, as we look forward to the summer turned our attention to college sports. We're all still hopeful that we're going to have a football season. The Big Ten, since we've spoken last, I think the Big Ten made the announcement, as well as many other conferences now, as expected, conference-only schedules. Man, that really changes the outlook for Indiana's football season a little bit when you look at it from that standpoint, Chronic.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you just wiped out a quarter of the games that were originally scheduled. If you're forecasting IU wins and losses, that's a pretty significant hit to, what most anticipate this squad to rack up in the win column this year. When you take those 3 games out of it, it just puts us at a tremendous disadvantage, being stuck with the Big Ten East schedule that we've got. Obviously, there's going to have to be some recalculation, assuming that the thing proceeds as currently scheduled, as far as determining bowl eligibility and just what all the implications are here. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the logic was behind that. I know it's a matter of risk mitigation, but I've still yet to see a pretty clear analysis or explanation as far as what risk. Is this financial? Is this health risk? I've even seen some players pointing out the fact that, there's not a whole lot of difference from a player safety or personnel safety issue and flying out to Rutgers versus having Western Kentucky take a bus up here and play a football game in Bloomington. And then even on the financial side, those buy games are just that, man. They're expensive. Teams have to pay for that. I'm not sure that we're going to see any resolution on exactly how those finances shake out anytime soon. So the lawyers are probably just getting their claws into it right now, trying to figure out who owes who, if anything. But it really muddies the water, particularly when you're looking at the prospects of any season, at least this fall. I know the SEC just came out yesterday, and they postponed their decision a couple of weeks. It certainly doesn't look good right now. Certainly a whole lot worse than it did even just 2 weeks ago, as far as the prospects of seeing any football played this fall, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and if that happens, now it gets you to thinking, we know there's been an economic impact already, but now we're talking about an economic impact to a specific industry, the schools, the athletics at these schools. This is a hit. Now we've already seen the hit that they took in the spring and the summer and all that, but that's nothing compared to the college football season and the hit that could bring. How much catastrophic loss could we be looking at as far as sports having to pack it in without the revenue from college football?
Catastrophic. I don't know that there's any other way to put it. I mean, when you look at the dynamics of the college athletics universe, college football makes the whole world go around there. It pays the vast majority of all the revenues into the coffers of the athletic administrations. I don't know that it's necessarily going to prove fatal for the Power 5 conferences. I think as we've already seen, there may be some Olympic sports that get cut out of the sausage making that's required here to get through this. But I think when you look across the country at the college athletics as a whole, I think it could prove catastrophic for it. I mean, you've already got some legislators, some administrators that are calling for a re-examination of collegiate athletics role in the broader university experience and what their mission is, because it's astronomical sums involved. I mean, it costs a lot of money, even at a small or mid-major school, to fund and run athletic departments. I mean, it's not just the coaches, it's the facilities upkeep. It's, the trainers, the nutritionists, this academic support staff. There are billions of dollars of revenue tied up in this business. And you're about ready to take the legs out from underneath its greatest economic generator in college football. And the gate receipts are great, and they're going to be sorely missed. But at the end of the day, I know you're looking at television contracts as paramount right now, just because of the way in which the financial house of cards has been built. That's really what everybody needs right now is that TV money. And, as we're seeing this summer and throughout the spring, there's a huge void in our national entertainment programming when you take sports out of the mix. And college athletics figures very heavily into those programming plans. So there's a whole lot of uncertainty right now. And I know administrations are loath to consider it because it's so anti-traditional. We could well see a push for a spring commencement of football, if not moving everything into the spring, the entire academic calendar. But again, all that is contingent upon the fact that we have to get the virus under control before anything's going to proceed forward. I think that's the facts that we've run headlong into right now, despite everybody's best efforts and plannings and our gradual progression through the reopening. At the end of the day, we never fully contained the virus, at least nationally. And as it continues to surge, it's going to continue to pose problems. No matter what plans we may set, no matter what target date you want to pin for the start of this sport or that sport, once that date draws real clear, you realize there's no safe or reasonable way forward. So a lot of hard decisions being made right now, but I think the lesson in all of it is no differently than we were sitting there, I think it was March 11th, the Wednesday of the Big Ten tournament, and trying to figure out exactly what this meant and how reality came crashing down on everybody at the time. The only difference now is we've got a little bit more runway to work with before those fans start lining up at the gate to come take attendance at the game, and administrators have to decide if this can be done safely and responsibly, in order to minimize the liability. But that date is fast approaching for fall sports. And at the end of the day, man, until we get this thing under control, you might as well throw winter sports in the same mix. Because, we're looking to have Hoosier hysteria here in about 3 months. And if they can't reasonably host a football game outside by that point, I don't think there's any reasonable expectation that you'd be able to put, even a handful of people inside an indoor gym in that same university environment. So, best I can say, man, is keep your fingers crossed, but wear a damn mask, everybody. Because the best case scenario, that's the one thing that the data seems to indicate we can do to help slow this thing spread, to help push this back towards a season, towards a resumption of normal activity as quickly as possible. Same goes for in-class education for the schools. We got to stop this thing from spreading, man.
Yeah, I hear you. We do, and I wish more people would get on that same wavelength of comprehending that. Why some people don't, I don't get it. But we've already seen the Patriot League. Todd mentioned the Ivy League. Their all stuff is canceled for this fall. JUCOs have now canceled all stuff until the spring. But the pressure that's on these Division I guys to keep this football season, it's immense. But it's also, can you imagine the pressure that they're under? Because the pressure to have this, it's immense. But the pressure to keep all these kids and all the people involved with it safe is also immense. I do not envy the people that are in this position. I have to be honest.
I get a lot of comments whenever anything pops up. A lot of people want to chime in. Europe's doing this thing safely. They've returned. Korea's got baseball with fans in the stands. What do we need to do? NBA's resuming. MLS is resuming. Well, there's some pretty critical distinction between all of those in college athletics. Internationally, all those countries that are opening back up, that are moving on to, whether it's fans, no fans in the stands or with fans like you see in Korea, the biggest differentiator there is their numbers are not peaking, are continuing to rise. Those countries have effectively contained it, at least to a significant enough degree, that it's safe to resume. You look at the pro sports where they have now bubbled up and are starting to proceed with their seasons. It's being done at the professional level. It's being done under a collective bargaining agreement. It's being done with representation of the athletes and the decision-making process. They have a stake in it, and they even still are having the ability to opt out if they don't feel it's in the safest or the best interest for their health and safety. All of those elements are missing from the college athletics discussion. This is much to the NCAA's insistence. This remains amateur athletics. These are student athletes, and we still have yet to see an effective plan, at least logistically, how college students get to resume somewhat, a normal semblance of activities on campus. And while we've moved the athletes back and they've begun conditioning, as you've seen all around the country, whenever you have even highly controlled, highly distanced, highly contained workouts, whenever people congregate, transmission occurs. And as we've seen, there's programs that have had zero positive tests, and all of a sudden there's a handful. The next thing you know, that number is doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and everything gets shut down again. And as this is kind of moving through the reopening phases, one thing that they keep pointing out as well is college towns tend to be really, really bad transmission vectors just by nature of the socialization that takes place there. And, lo and behold, the very things that make Indiana University in Bloomington such an awesome place to spend your college years also happen to make it one of the higher risk areas just because of the way in which kids congregate and gather. So, administrators everywhere, I'm sure, are pulling their hair out thinking everything's great. And all of a sudden you got flashing red lights. So, credit to everybody who's doing everything they can to pull this thing off, to keep these kids safe. And I think we'd be remiss too if we didn't mention it's not just the kids whose safety are at hand here. You have employer liability for, the hundreds, if not thousands, of coaches, administrators, staff members who interact with these athletes on a regular basis, who themselves are undertaking a lot of risk that then gets transferred over to their employers. It's a really, really tough environment to try to manage this and balance the safety as well as the essential, economics of it. At the end of the day, if there's no end in sight, there's going to be some hard choices that are going to have to be made. You've already seen it to some degree in pay cuts, staff reduction of athletic teams. But those conversations could get significantly more pointed here if you're looking at a prospect of an entire year without college football revenue. I think what you'll see under the current model is the wheels really start to fall off fiscally, and there's going to be few schools who are going to be really eager to chip in from their general fund to keep athletics going right now when they're looking at a crisis of their own in the higher education front. So again, best thing we can do, man, keep fingers crossed, keep distancing, and keep wearing masks, and let's try to see if we can't get our arms around this thing and get sports back and get life back, man. I'm missing it. The hardest part about vacationing in Florida was, not going out to the seafood houses. I know the girls were wishing they could go do some shopping and some playing. But we are so far from normal right now, it's not even funny. So hopefully with some collective efforts and unity, we can find a path forward that gets us all back there as soon as possible.
Absolutely. The only thing we got regular right now is having Chronic Hoosier on each week, and that's about as good as it's going to get. But, brother, I can't thank you enough as always. I hope you have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll look forward to doing it again.
Hey, can't wait. We can't wait to talk about Remy and Mo taking home that money.
There you go, brother. Hopefully so. Chronic Hoosier joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat on this Tuesday. Thank you, sir. Appreciate him. As always, it could not be a Chronic Tuesday without him. Todd, as we wrap things up, yeah, he's true. Hopefully we can get back to normal, but maybe tonight, that would be huge. How big would that to get some people over the doldrums to see Mo Creek and Remy Abel win that tonight? Sorry we couldn't get Remy on with us today. He had that team meeting and pop up, but if they win, I promise you, we have them both on tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at it and you look at these teams. Really, Marquette should win this game. but you could have said that about every game Sideline Cancer's played already so far. So I can't wait to watch it, to be honest with you. I'm more excited about watching this than I definitely would be the NBA Finals.
Absolutely, me too. I mean, the game before last that they won that one with ease. I looked up and I'm like, man, they're up by 16. They were just rolling away. I think it was Boeheim's Army. I think is
Mark. They dismantled a good Boeheim's Army team, and you know what? They play together. They've played, a lot of these guys have played with each other and in this tournament for a long time. And you look at what's the guy, Travis Diener, is that his name? What the guy from Marquette? I mean, he's played. So they've played 3 games already. He's played a total of 5 minutes so far. Like, he doesn't even play. He just sits over there and coaches. And he's played in 6 of these tournaments before, and that's how much depth and experience they have on that team, and they're just really, really good. But they're no better than the overseas elite team is that Sideline Cancer just beat.
Yeah, and Sideline Cancer is just playing really, really well together.
Yeah.
Golly, they're playing so. And Mo Creek and Remy and Marcus Keene, man, they're. I hope they keep rolling, man. Let's keep it rolling. Make sure you tune in. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again. Not sure who the guests are going to be yet, because if those guys win, that's definitely going to be Remy Abel and Mo Creek. But just tune in and find out. But until tomorrow, for Todd, for Jimmy, I'm Jim Coyle. Go out and say something nice, be something nice to somebody. I'll see you on the radio.